Hello and welcome to Udyamini Speaks. This is the podcast where we bring you real stories of courage, challenges, and success from rural women entrepreneurs in Assam and West Bengal. I'm your host, Sangeeta Bhattacharjee. Today, we are joined by Ms. Momita De Datto, Program Manager at Krishi Vigyan Kendra, Shonamukhi, Bankura. Ms. Datto has years of experience working closely with rural women, helping them access government schemes, understand market trends, and grow their businesses in practical ways. This podcast is brought to you by Udyamini, a special program led by 5 Indian non-profit organizations. The goal is to build a strong support system for rural women entrepreneurs working in different areas like agriculture, horticulture, weaving, handicrafts, tea production, small businesses, and even new fields like solar energy and clean technology in the states of Assam and West Bengal. At its heart, Udyamini wants to create a lively network of women from all walks of life, women who are confident using digital tools, who help each other grow, and who take their products and services back to their own villages. These women are not just building businesses, they are building stronger communities. It is indeed a privilege today to have with us Ms. Momita De Datto, and we look forward to an insightful discussion. At the very beginning, welcome to our podcast, Udyamini Speaks. How have you been, ma'am?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me in this very detailed way introduction. And mostly, thank you, Udyamini, for this podcast, which emphasize the contribution of the rural women entrepreneurs in our state, at nationally, regionally, and at district level. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words, ma'am. Let us start our discussion. My very first question to you. What are the most effective ways the rural women entrepreneurs in Assam and West Bengal can scale up their farm-based or their agri-allied businesses today? I mean, I'm sure women entrepreneurs make a lot of mistakes. So, which are these common mistakes from your experience and which they ought to avoid actually while trying to scale up or grow, that is? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for the question. See, if we talk about scaling up, so
Right.
scaling up a farm-based or agri-allied businesses for rural women entrepreneurs in our state, West Bengal, it involves a combination of strategic planning. It needs access to resources, capacity building, leveraging government and market opportunities.
Right.
And if in like market linkage and branding is very important. They need they can get access to ONDC or Flipkart Samart or Amazon Karigar, where they sell their products like their handicrafts, their pickles, honey, whatever they have in proper remuneration they'll get. Or they can go for regional branding, like recently our KVK Sonamukhi Bakura, we got GI tagged on Govindo Bhog rice, aromatic rice,
Wonderful.
in which 200 SHG women are engaged in our district. They can get access to these rural hard bazaars. So there they can use their products, sell their products participate in melas, organization. These things they need to participate for scaling up. And moreover, we are in the digital era, so they definitely need to use these apps like Agri app, Kisan Suvidha,
True.
DHeart, like that. And training on wherever they face fear. In the KVK is there, they can go for training. SRLM is there,
Right.
or any central or state government initiative they can grab those opportunities. And institutional support is very important. Institutional support, if we say the West Bengal State Rural Livelihood Mission is providing lakhs and lakhs of hands-on training for the women entrepreneurs, or MSME Institute or NABARD, or any women entrepreneur networks they can join for
Right.
scaling up their business.
Right.
But if we talk about the common mistakes they do or they should avoid, the first and foremost, in my experience, I have seen among the rural women entrepreneurs, they lack financial literacy.
Right.
They lack financial planning. There is they commonly, as they are very novice in the business, they mix up their personal and business finances, or chalking out the budget so that they can book the profit, or they don't go for any market research. They can go for market research of local areas, or local, if they are in rural areas, semi-urban areas, market research they can do.
Right.
And another thing is that maybe it's out of fear, or maybe due to custom, they are over dependent on the middleman. That should be avoided. The direct
Absolutely.
consumer model, direct to consumer model should be taken up by the rural women entrepreneurs. Another thing is that they produce very quality product, but they lack knowledge or expertise on quality packaging. So quality packaging, very important for the consumer to grab their attention, and also for quality product, and also for the quality product, this packaging material is important. Another thing is that documentation and legal formalities, record keeping is a very important thing which they lack.
Right.
So these things they should take into account for scaling up their business.
Correct. You did mention quite a few things, and we are going to talk about them in different segments. And specifically, we did talk about access to credit and microfinance in our past 2 episodes. So we do know that happens to be such an important aspect of rural women entrepreneurship. Moving on to my next question. There have been different schemes which have been announced by the state and the central governments from time to time. So what I would like to know from you is what specific schemes are there, or even support systems, if we can talk of them, that are currently available for the rural women entrepreneurs, and how can they access these easily? Because awareness and access is definitely altogether a different discussion actually. And also, these schemes, are they unique to West Bengal or Assam? And the women might not be aware about them. So I would definitely want you to tell us what specific schemes or support systems are there right now.
Sure, it's a great question that you have asked. What are the schemes or support system from state or central government? It's there for the rural women. Definitely, there are lots of schemes are there. So, to be very specific, to start with the state government of West Bengal, the first and foremost I should mention, based on my experience, that is Anandodhara, that is offered by West Bengal State Rural Livelihood Mission, where they can get seed capital of up to 40,000 per SHG members, or community enterprise fund for the block level SHGs, or they provide the opportunities in the lean season, like school uniform stitching or sanitary napkin production. If we talk about the access, how they can get, they can form a self-help group at the local block level, that is in Bengali we call it Shongho, and or they can consult with the block Anandodhara cell or block development office or KVK for application. As we KVK WBCADC, we in close in collaboration with the WBSL, we work throughout the district. Another very good this scheme is there from government of West Bengal, that is Swami Vivekananda Swannirbhar Karma Sangsthan Prakolpo. Another is West Bengal Swannirbhar Sahayak Prakolpo. There is Karma Tirtho Center, which is offered by Department of Information and Cultural Affairs. So through block level cultural team or MSME officer, they can access to Karma Tirtho Center. There is Ajivika Gramin Express Jojona. So same definitely through block federation or Sangho under Anandodhara, they can access to Ajivika Gramin, this Express Yojana. If we talk about central scheme, there is PM formalization of micro food processing enterprise, which gives this women-owned enterprise a loan of from 10 lakh to up to maximum 1 crore, including agri-allied venture.
Okay.
So for accessing, they need a bankable business plan. There should be a scheduled commercial bank or RBI recognized aggregator in their zone where they can apply for this. So all these schemes are there. Bangla Shri is there, Kormo Sathi Prokolpo is there, Shilpo Sathi portal is there.
Yeah.
So these things they can access through block level or through bank for financial and credit support.
Right. And these schemes are unique to West Bengal, right?
It's West Bengal, and a few are from this MSME support, and then PM formalization of micro food processing enterprise. These things are from Ajivika Gramin Express Yojana. These things are for central government schemes.
Central government schemes, right?
Yes.
And if I may just add a question to this, how are the rural women entrepreneurs made aware of these? I mean, what is the information dissemination system for this?
Okay, for making them aware, we from block level or from KVK level or any state government institution, we can organize any awareness program after a baseline survey. How much is the information they are having?
Right.
So through this awareness program or any public distribution system, PDS system, or any poster, something like that from any NGO can take a part in this. Many NGOs work for the rural women these days. So for all institutional support together, I think can bring a change to make them aware about this scheme.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, moving on to the next. You have had this great experience with KVK for a long time. And what, according to your experience, do you think are the most important things that rural women should invest in? For instance, resources are generally, resources are limited for the entrepreneurs. So what do you think they should invest in, especially when they begin their entrepreneurial journey? Say, should it be in tools, should it be in training or in marketing? What advice would you give?
Yes, excellent question. This will be very informative for the women entrepreneurs. They see from my experience of this serving at KVK and with other grassroots institution in our state. I have a grounded perspective and how the rural women should start.
True.
I think they should start with minimum viable setup. This is the basic. Not everything all at once. They should move step by step. They need to have right tools to ensure product quality and efficiency if they want to become a successful entrepreneur.
True.
Even if the production is small scale. See, very basic tools if we talk about, like for any kind of enterprise, whether it is mushroom cultivation, whether it's honey, whether it's pickle, whether it's spices, very basic things like weighing scale, grinder, small roller dryer, something like that, or for handlooms, basic stitching equipments they need. So first of all, they should go with the basic tools and basic skill development training. These things are very important. They should have expertise in these two. Skill, they should know top to bottom everything about their venture. And second thing is their tools, whatever they need, the basic tools. Now, no big tool. It's not necessary to buy at the beginning only very big amount, big bulk. These machineries, very small machineries will do. And another thing is that market that before also I have talked about, that is market research is necessary. If for the rural women, they are very their resources limited, and they are not like the commercial business owner. They are very novice in the this venture. So for me, if you talk about, they have 100 rupees in their hand, so 40 to 50% of their budget they should spend in production of tools and raw materials, and 20 to 25% like for the training, and 20 to 30% for the their market research, branding, product choice and everything, and 5 to 10% for as emergency, like anything, any breakdown happens like that. So like this, they should spend their resources, and this should be their priority. Like whatever, in one line I should say, build incrementally, not all at once. That's all.
Right. That's quite a precise direction that you're pushing them in. And so you start small basically, and then you scale up, right, with the enhancement of knowledge and experience and stuff. All right. Now, again, coming back to your experience, I mean, there must be so many women-led enterprises which have actually which have been successful in building these sustainable models. So I would definitely want you to share a few examples of these sustainable models which have been built by these women entrepreneurs, the rural women entrepreneurs, and what do you think has actually helped them succeed? For instance, very often we hear about, some small innovation, some simple practice, which does make a big difference to the entire this entrepreneurship, this effort that they make, right? So, we would want to know that, which are these examples which you'd like to share with us, and what exactly helped them to succeed? Yes, please.
Yes. See, in our system, we say one line that is vocal for the local. That is, priority should be given on the local resources. This is a very ancient concept. Priority should be given on the local resources. We know that from before independence, our legendary persons, they have started many rural reconstructions work, like Rabindranath Tagore Sriniketan project, or our Mahatma Gandhi ji Sevagram project, like that. Many projects were there. All those projects gave emphasis on this empowerment, women empowerment, and local resources. Local resources should be given prime importance. So in such case, see, if I talk about, for example, as our KVK in Bankura district of West Bengal, our district is very much having very much potential on vegetable production, very much potential on seed production of any crop, like that. So many SHGs, like there is Dihipara Monalisa Mohila Shonirbor Dol, there is Kochdihi Women SHG Pragati Sangho, there is another there is many Dolmadol Farmers Producer Company, women-led FPC. So all these FPC, they have given emphasis on the local product, in the sense, see, watermelon is a very good fruit crop of this district.
Correct.
During the summer season, as we know, groundwater scarcity is going on. We cannot go for summer rice, boro rice, as it needs lots of gallons and gallons of water. So instead of that, the women farmers, their FPC, they have gone for the watermelon production in their area, and it has given them a bumper yield and also very handsome amount of income. Okay. Because they have chosen local resources, their local climate which suits there. Or the other FPC, they have gone for the organic vegetable production. Another FPC, they have gone for desi poultry bird farming. So like that, local farm resources should be given prime importance, and local institutions should be they give lots of training that should be grabbed by the women entrepreneurs. Okay. So these things, if they keep there in mind, so their success is nothing but their
success
their
isn't
just
short.
thing.
Right. So the mool mantra is vocal for local, right?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, coming to the next question, I mean, when we talk of sectors like food production or say animal rearing or processing activities, we definitely need to consider good health standards. So, what I need to know from you is that how can the rural women ensure that their businesses maintain the good health standards, especially in these segments, that is? And definitely training and quality control also plays a role in it. So, how would you summarize this entire thing? How can they ensure that the health standards are maintained, and how can training and quality control be made a part of this entire process?
Yes, see, ensuring good health and hygiene standard is critical in every sector.
True.
For the success and sustainability of any rural women-led enterprise, especially if it is food production, especially if it is animal rearing or processing activities. See, poor practices, it will not only risk the health and legal penalties. Once you become an entrepreneur, you should always think about the legal things too, the legal penalties.
Absolutely.
But it can also damage the trust of your customer. So, especially in today's market, when consumer expect safety, cleanliness, and traceability, especially we have crossed a 3 years time of COVID, and after COVID, everybody is very much concerned about hygiene and everything.
Right.
So we should think about it very precisely, very scientifically. We should go with the production things. And if you say how they can achieve this, if it is a food production and processing enterprise, basic practices like the production area should be clean. Regular sweeping, regular mopping with the disinfectants, pest control should be there. Safe water should be there. Boiled and filtered water should, for any product they should use. Hand hygiene, like washing your hand with soap before and after handling the food product. The storage of raw product and storage of cooked zone should be different to avoid any cross contamination. Proper storage, airtight containers, moisture proof containers, away from sunlight and pest should be done. And one more thing is what we as a layman, every consumer, they see that leveling of the expiry date in all the products.
Absolutely.
This should be done. So it will build the customer trust in their product. If it is animal rearing enterprise, there must be a foot bath with lime or potassium permanganate at the entry of the foot bath. Isolation pans or disposal of waste should be done regularly. Vaccination schedule should be checked. So like that, they can build the consumer trust, because it's very important. As we say, like clean practices not only protect the health, they build a reputation you can bank on.
And are we to understand that this is being done also to a great extent, perhaps?
Yes. For in the SHGs we talked about in the last time, this Coach Dihi or this Dihi Para. For them, they are regularly supplying their product to government institution too. This Shufal Bangla and everywhere, and they are maintaining proper hygiene. In hygiene matter also they need training, and we KVK also provide such training things.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Earlier, you did talk about digital tools and platforms and digital literacy. So, yeah, my next question relates to that. And we have seen that digital tools and platforms are becoming very common. So, what I want to know is that what kind of digital or mobile-based practices should these rural women learn? And so that they can also grow their customer base, they can improve their business skills in the process. And at the same time, what I also want to know from you is that can KVK or similar institutions, say, help in spreading this digital literacy?
Yes, excellent questions.
Yeah.
See, what I want to say, in this today's world, digital literacy is no longer an optional thing. It's a game changer for any enterprise.
Absolutely.
Anybody having smartphone, it's becoming more accessible. And women in rural places, they are also using very much commercially they are using to reach the customers, to learn faster, manage their enterprise better, all with a mobile phone, and some basic training is needed. And what they can use for digital and this mobile based practices, rural women should learn like using WhatsApp business for the first step for a novice. WhatsApp is a very great medium for business, for customer engagement. They can create a catalog with images, prices, and contact info, and they can use broadcast message system to receive and track orders, local and nearby buyers. And one example is there from our district only. She just produced turmeric powder, and through WhatsApp every month she reached 50 to 100 customers in our district, and she's selling. So WhatsApp is a very good medium. Another is they have to learn about the digital payment tools like PhonePe, UPIs, Paytm things. YouTube, creating one YouTube channel can help them, or voice-based learning apps also can help them. It's there in vernacular languages. It's there. Voice-based learning apps is there, and small learning on photography or and some things like KVK can help, or other institutions like WBSRLM already on to help them so that they can sell their product, or they can run mobile-based training session, digital mela, smart village, hands-on mobile training on using YouTube, clicking pictures, or demonstrate business apps, and some platforms like onboard to platforms like Flipkart Samarth is there, Jivika Mart is there, Srishtishri.in is there, Kisan Connect is there. So these things they can use definitely, and many NGOs like Pradhan, then NABARD, they are NABARD as a government institution. They also provide training on these digital things in our district. So in this way, I think they can definitely click on success stair for their venture.
Correct. Talking about digital literacy, and you talked about how that that particular rural women entrepreneur who is producing turmeric powder, you said, has been able to reach so many people via her WhatsApp, right? So just if I can add a question to this, like we do understand in today's commercial world the role that storytelling plays, or even personal branding for that matter. So do you think we can now move forward with storytelling and personal branding when it comes to rural women entrepreneurs and how they showcase their products?
Yes, storytelling definitely it will give a personal touch to the other women who are still thinking of starting their venture, and whenever there is a personal touch, they'll feel that yes, there's a woman like me only on the other side of the screen. She is doing a lot in her capabilities, so I can also move like this. So storytelling it's a great thing through digital media for motivating the women.
Right. And storytelling pertaining to the product as well, I believe that is going to set some sort of a connection between the buyer and the seller, right? So we can definitely think in those lines. And moving on, you talked about the women self-help groups, the SHGs. So what role do you think these SHGs and other organizations, that is, they can play in helping the entrepreneurs scale up, in helping them sustain their businesses over time? For instance, if I can be very specific and ask you that, can the SHGs partner sort of with maybe KVKs or even government departments to get better results as far as rural women entrepreneurship is concerned? What would you say?
Yeah, this women SHGs, self-help groups, or the women collectives, I say them, I call them powerful engine for scaling, powerful engine for sustaining, powerful engine for de-risking women-led entrepreneurs.
Uh-huh.
In Bengali, I don't know everybody of the listeners they'll understand or not.
Sure. Yeah.
In Bengali, there is a rhyme
Mhm.
during our childhood we used to recite, that
Mhm.
is Doshe mili kori kaj hari jiti nahi laj,
Right.
which means when all together of us we come together and do a work, whether it's a success or failure, there is no fear in that.
Mhm.
So I call them a powerful engine for scaling up.
Correct.
So what SHGs or collective action can do this help women farmers. The first thing is that enabling access to credit and capital. See, without any capital, nobody can go for any venture, starting any venture. So through SHGs are trusted by banks, and it's easier to get low interest loans. And group this lending reduces the pressure on the individual women. There is community investment funds which they can grab the opportunity. It reduces risk through group ownership. It creates market power. When there is in collectively we produce something, that means we have bulk amount of production.
Correct.
When you have bulk amount of production, the buyer who cannot just charge anything, they have to negotiate with the group for their price, so that the SHGs also they will get the proper optimum this price for their product. It promote learning and mentorship leadership also. It can track growth and improve accountability. And if we talk about as you say, that specifically how SHGs can partner with KVKs or government bodies, I say that we as KVK right now we are working with 121 SHGs. These collaborative efforts are on especially mushroom production, poultry management, organic farming, and this processed fruit production.
Okay.
Every month, these women SHGs they produce all these products, and through KVK we show them some doors. We make them acquainted with many business organizations like Indian Chambers of Commerce and like that, like Shufal Bangla. These Bengal stores are there, government, so that they can sell there.
Correct.
If not KVK, there is government schemes like Anandodhara. They provide toolkit, they provide revolving seed capital, they provide group vehicle loans. So like this, they can get collaborative. They can grab this collaborative effort.
Right. Absolutely. If I can ask you one question here, and we want that our rural women entrepreneurs should not look at themselves as merely workers or beneficiaries maybe, but think of themselves or start thinking of themselves as entrepreneurs and decision makers. But I think for that some kind of a mindset shift also might be necessary. So since you are working with these women, what kind of a mindset shift is necessary you feel right now among these rural women so that they start seeing themselves as entrepreneurs, sort of, as decision makers, as I said?
Yes. See, what mindset they should have, in one line if I say, it is start small but start smart.
Wonderful.
You should be smart, but you should start small. Begin with what you know and can learn quickly. So what has demand locally or seasonally. So this thing they should keep in mind. And other things, as we already have discussed this, they should be open to learn new things. They should be they should stop depending on this middleman. They should have their confidence that yes, I can also do. So this kind of mindset will help them to grow their business as a rural women entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Small but smart. Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. So that brings me to more or less my last question. Say a young woman in a village in Assam or West Bengal wants to start a small agribusiness today. So, from your perspective, what would be your 3 key pieces of advice? We are talking of 3 key pieces of advice to help her begin right, firstly, and to grow strong at the same time. So, yes, your 3 key pieces of advice so to a young woman who's just starting?
If as this all I have discussed in your last question, I should recapitulate what I have discussed till now. 3 words, that is, start small, learn continuously, and grow together. Join a group, don't go alone, join a SHG, and so that you can access to this credit and market linkages. A group can apply for, as I already said, the schemes or attending fair like that, and learn continuously. You should be open to learning. Learning should be there every day. We should learn and become an entrepreneur. It needs huge amount of learning. Step by step, day by day, you learn, and also that at the very beginning also I say never ever everything at once. Grow incrementally. So start small, learn continuously, and grow together. A woman who farms or sell today can lead tomorrow.
Absolutely wonderful. So I think from whatever you have said, it's like the support system is very much there in place. All we need to do is take advantage of that. The rural women entrepreneurs need to start small, need to know the game sort of, and then go ahead and with confidence, because the hand-holding part is always there. The collective effort part will always be a part of rural women entrepreneurship. So yes, thank you so much, Ms. Datta, and thank you for your time. Thank you for that insightful discussion. And I'm sure at some time in future we will again meet to have further discussion on this very topic. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, dear listeners, from accessing government schemes to building strong local markets, and from embracing digital tools to prioritizing training and collective action, we have learned that there are multiple pathways rural women entrepreneurs can take to grow and thrive. What truly stands out is the importance of community, clarity, and courage. When rural women are given the right information, support, and belief in their own abilities, they not only transform their businesses but also uplift entire villages. At Udyamini Speaks, we believe that every woman, no matter how small her beginning, deserves the opportunity to dream, build, and lead. And with the right ecosystem, those dreams can become a powerful force for change. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this episode helpful, do share it with others in your network. This is Sangeeta Bhattacharjee signing off from Udyamini Speaks. Until next time, take care and keep rising.